Alright, let's get into this. The Season 2 DLC for Street Fighter just got announced at the Summer Games Fest. And I'm going to be real with y'all, I am not happy about it. There's a couple reasons why. I'm going to get into, like play-by-play and whatever. Firstly, the characters, who's being added. M. Bison, Terry Bogard, and Mai from SNK. And then Elena, who I believe was in Street Fighter 3? Am I right? If I'm wrong, correct me. I don't think I've ever played a game with Elena in it. But I don't mind Elena being included, obviously, because I would rather returning characters than guest characters. I really am not a fan of guest characters in Street Fighter. If there were going to be guest characters, fine. But with Terry specifically, we already have Terry in like 3 other games. He's in Smash Bros. As a playable character. He has his own game that's coming out, City of Wolves. And then I think he's also in in King of Fighters, the latest one, like 14 or whatever. So I'm just sitting here, I'm just wondering, why is Terry now, of all places, in Street Fighter? Like, I get they're like in a shared universe or whatever, or at least allegedly, but it just, I don't really care for his inclusion. Maybe it's like a thing for like people who grew up with that stuff, sure. I'm not super young, but I'm not super old either, so I didn't play no King of Fighters or anything like that with Terry. I don't mind Mai's inclusion, just because it's like somebody different who hasn't been in like a recent title or anything like that. Even if she was in King of Fighters, she's not in Smash Bros. And coming out with her own game as well, so I'm not too bothered by her inclusion, but I am bothered by Terry's inclusion. But I'm even more bothered by M. Bison returning for no reason. Like, why is he here? Why is M. Bison here? It makes absolutely no sense. He should be dead. And I feel like they did the same thing with Street Fighter 5 in terms of like shitty villain thing. Like, you wrote, like, Street Fighter 5, correct me if I'm wrong, they wrote in Nikali to be like the big bad villain of it, but then Bison's still there, and then they also had whoever that dude is, who's like red and blue, I don't remember his name, but he was supposed to be the actual big bad villain. So it's like, who is it? So now it's like in Street Fighter 6, it's like, okay, JP is supposed to be the villain based on like the story, the comic, and everything that we've been following. But no, actually, we're going back to Bison. Because JP was Bison, if you don't know, JP was Bison's accountant or whatever. So I'm like, okay. But then, let's also look at the price tag for this, because that's the huge issue I have. So, I got the Street Fighter, like myself, I got the Street Fighter Collector's Edition, so that came with an automatic download for the Year 1 DLC. So, I didn't have to pay for it. But those who did have to pay for it, they paid $50 for it. I think it's on sale right now for $33. But they paid $50 for it. And what you got with the Season 1 DLC, you got a new character with Aki, like brand new to the series. You got a returning character with Rashid, another returning character from Street Fighter 5 and Ed, both of them kind of reworked to be different. And then you also had Akuma. And that was spread across about like a good year. So that's not too horrible, but it's like 4 characters spread out, and then the price for each of them. So the Street Fighter 6 Year 1 character pass, according to the PlayStation Store, was $30. And as you can see with both the Year Pass and the Character Pass, very middling reviews. People aren't really into it. And in addition to that, you don't really get a lot for what the price tag is. Like, I'm comparing it to Smash Bros. Smash Bros, I want to say like each character was like $4.99 or $5.99, and you didn't have to get them in a batch. You can get them individually, and that's a huge issue Street Fighter 6 has in general compared to Street Fighter 5. The pricing for the microtransactions / cosmetics and all that other stuff is horrible. So I'm not incentivized to want to continue to pay an additional $50 for 4 more characters, right? Yeah, 4 more characters and maybe 2 stages. And you can't even justify it with like, oh, these are like guest characters or whatever. No, it's the same price as the Year 1. Like, regardless if it's on sale right now, it's the same price tag. And it doesn't justify the cost. But $50 is a lot. It's a lot. It's a whole new game, and you're not getting a whole new game's worth of content. In addition to that, you have legacy characters from the Street Fighter series that should have been in the game before the inclusion of guest characters or characters like Bison, which from a story perspective should not even be in the game anymore. So this is we're going off into personal opinion territory. I guess it's all been personal opinion, but more like super personal opinion territory. We have characters who I feel should have been included from the Street Fighter Legacy series. I'm going to start that off with Bosch. Bosch is a well, he's not legacy, but he's a new character in the Street Fighter 6 story mode. So those of you who have played know who Bosch is, what his story is. So we already have a character model and an alternate costume if you've gotten that far in the story. They can literally make up any sort of fighting style for him to differentiate himself from, I guess, the default avatar Luke thing. And easily just include Bosch as like DLC. A lot of the work, it seems like, has been done. So Bosch should be like the number one obvious choice. Cody is the next one. Cody will be a returning character from Street Fighter 4 and 5. He is the mayor of the city that you play the World Tour mode in, which is like a huge chunk of the game, whether or not people play it or not. You advertise the single player experience, so you should include a big part of that, which is Cody himself. So we should be able to play as Cody in his little mayor outfit and whatever, revamp moveset, all that good stuff. So I think Bosch and Cody should definitely have been some of the first choices to be added to the DLC. Maybe not in Season 1 because they already had this plan in motion, and I'm perfectly happy with like what we got in Season 1. I think other than, because you're always going to have an Akuma with Street Fighter. It's like having Street Fighter without Ryu. And I'm fine with Rashid because he's changed enough that he feels fresh, along with Ed. He's very much feels fresh, so like revamped moveset. And then Aki is a brand new character. I'm always happy about that. So, continuing that, if you're going into Season 2, like Aki, we should have had Bosch as an included new character, in my opinion. And also, returning character like Rashid should have been Cody. Moving on, I can't really tell you what a third, if we're doing 4 characters per annual DLC, I can't really say what a third character would have been. A lot of people say Dudley, a lot of people say Christy. I think is that even the right, am I even talking about the right here? That might be a second character, but I want to say that's Sean's sister, if I'm not mistaken. But another person could have been Sean. Sean hasn't been around since Street Fighter 3, and I don't think he was in 4 or 5. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I don't know. But that's another legacy character that could have came back following this trend of like new character and then legacy. And then the last character. Now this is I'm not even going to say it's controversial because it's a new character for the Street Fighter series, but it's not a new Street Fighter character. If those of you who played Street Fighter 4 know that with the roster edition of Rufus, the original character for Rufus, who had a voice actor record lines and all that, was for a character named King Cobra. Now, King Cobra was supposed to be a counterpart to C. Viper, who was supposed to have like this Black American influence. He was literally a Black American man with sort of like I describe it as like a Last Dragon show-nuff sort of aesthetic of like a black person who's really into Kung Fu. And the fact that this really cool black character who was like conceptualized, and everything, was last minute of all things changed to a fat, obnoxious white man named Rufus. And it just feels really fucked up what they did to this character. And I feel like that should have long been rectified with his inclusion in Street Fighter 5, but of course that didn't happen, so it should have definitely been included in Street Fighter 6. And it's not like being fat is like an issue. I didn't mean to phrase it that way. I'm just saying like the polar opposite of what this King Cobra design was. They changed it to Rufus, which was meant to be comical. They're using his fatness as a joke. Like this, like the stereotype of like fat white Americans who are obnoxious, like Rufus, instead of like this really cool dude who they designed, had whole character ref sheets for and everything, and last minute changed him to this guy. So that's insulting, and they never did anything about it, never brought him up, I thought in Street Fighter 6 they would finally rectify this mistake and bring him back, but as of right now, we aren't seeing that. So I do not care about guest characters. I'm not excited for Terry. I'm not excited for Mai. I don't mind her inclusion, but I'm personally just, I don't care. I don't care how momentous it is. I don't care how historical it is. I just don't care. And anyone else who also feels the same is very valid in their disappointment. Like I know a lot of people wanted Dudley. A lot of people wanted a bunch of other characters. I don't think you'll ever get Yun or Yang just because of Jamie's inclusion, which is why I feel like a couple of people, I want to say I heard Chatter this before, saying that, oh, well, if he was supposed to have this like breakdancing style like they had mentioned, well, Jamie already has that. Okay, well, that is even worse, first of all, that you have this black guy's inclusion, and then you switch them out for an entirely new character who is not black. But you can easily just give, like, fighting styles are so diverse, and there are so many types of fighting styles, not just in America, because we do take things and remix them, but also worldwide. So there's no excuse of why King Cobra or even Bosch, going back to Bosch, should not have been included in the seasons, in Street Fighter Season 2 DLC. I think so. Definitely Cody and Bosch. You can feel how you feel about Sean and King Cobra. Like I said, I don't mind Elena. Like, Elena's a returning character. I would rather have a returning character than a guest character, but I don't want that returning character to be narratively somebody who should not be in the game, like M. Bison. I don't care how cool they made him, because honestly, he is pretty cool looking, but it's just, it doesn't make sense for him to be here. And also, I don't care about Terry, and I don't care about Mai. I know it's cool for people, and I'm happy that they're happy, but for me personally, I just thought that if you're going to entice, I guess that's subjective. That's subjectively speaking. If you're going to entice people, a lot of Street Fighter fans will probably agree that they would rather have returning legacy characters than a guest character, when said guest character, specifically Terry, is already in 3 other games. 4 if you count skins and Fall Guys. I'm just joking with that. But yeah, so that's a little bit of a rant of why I'm not excited for the Street Fighter 6 Season 2 DLC. From both the character selection and also this egregious price tag, I feel like Capcom really needs to revisit their microtransaction program layout, whatever you want to call it. It's just not working. I don't feel enticed to want to spend $50 for 4 characters again, and I feel like if it's like one character, it's like $15, which is crazy. I want to say even the Ninja Turtle outfits were like $15 a piece, which is, it's crazy. The microtransactions in the game just don't make sense. The character selections arguably don't make sense. I guess if I had to say if I'm excited for anyone, it would be Elena. I've never even heard of Elena, but the fact that she's a returning character, she looks cool, and I know that narratively she is Akuma's friend, so it makes a bit of sense for her to be here if Akuma's going to be here. And they could do some sort of continued storyline with that. So I think that's something to be excited for. I'm not shitting on anyone's parade. I mean, my words are just my words. If you're excited, then that's great. Be excited. That's good for you. But I personally am not excited for this DLC. I'm definitely not excited for this DLC price. I feel like the included characters should have been, for sure, Cody and Bosch, but also another returning legacy character, and like even it out to 5 instead of 4. Along with Elena, we should have had maybe a Sean or a Sea Viper, so that way we can also add King Cobra. But yeah, those are my thoughts. If you don't agree, I don't care. I'm just here to talk. if you don't like it, you can just dislike the video, I guess. But if you do like it, then like the video, please. Share with your friends. Start some discourse. Tell Capcom you don't like their microtransactions, because this is kind of wild. This is getting kind of crazy. And I guess I'll see y'all when I see y'all the next time I upload. Hopefully it won't take 5 years like before. But this and last year have been pretty crazy, so I don't know if I'll have a set schedule. I'm going to try to focus a lot on Pokemon Unite going forward. I'll definitely try to do some fighting game stuff. It's just capturing that stuff is weird, and my computer doesn't like my PS5 for some reason. I don't know why, but capturing stuff from the Switch is like way easier, and PC stuff. So be on the lookout for that. Hopefully, not gonna make any promises. If you liked the video, like it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all soon.